Zul Gurub is gonna come out, and now we got a question. What do you soft res, and most importantly, and the reason I am making this video, what things are gonna be replaced decently enough from Blackwing Lair that you shouldn't prioritize them in Blackwing Lair? Because the problem right now is that there is not a lot of great warrior DPS items. If you're a tank, you get your tier set, obviously, so that's not a problem for you. But if you're a DPSer, you either rank or you are missing a bunch of slots. There is a lot of people on blues because they are still the best things you can get. Zul Gurub is going to change that a lot. First of all, we have the Heart of Hakar trinket. It is this little doozy that gives you 40 attack power, but every time you hit a target you lose 2 of that bonus. It is not very good, it is decent, but as a warrior you are gonna do Hand of Justice and Diamond Flask until, well, Drake Fang Talisman from BWL, so you are not going to use this ever. You got 2 blues that are better than this. We're gonna skip this one, leave the Heart of Hakar for other classes. Then we have this ring, the Seal of the Gurubashi Berserker, 13 stamina, 40 attack power. It is a decent ring, all things considered, but it is not very good. I like putting hit on my rings because that way I am more flexible on the armor I can get, and there are some hit rings in this raid. You have the Seal of Jin, which is 1% hit, and 14 agility, which is about 2/3 of a crit, 0.6% crit or something like that. This is infinitely better. Now there is a set bonus, as you can see right here, because there is this other ring that gives you 20 attack power and 1% crit, and wearing both of them is not a bad thing. The problem is the following. This is what you get when you get Alterac Valley Exalted. 1% hit, 1% crit, 16 attack power. This ring is gonna stay with you all the way to, well, Naxxramas. So I wouldn't prioritize both of them because I do not need 2. If I really wanted 2 rings, I would get this. I actually just got it. I didn't want to rank, okay? I didn't want to rank, but I did rank and I just got it. It is a better use of your time to get Alterac Valley Exalted. It is not even that much time. Do not waste a roll on 2 rings. I would probably go for the crit one, but you can go for the hit one. It doesn't really matter. Either one of them is fine. Just do not get 2. Then you also got the mount. Okay, you get a free mount. Pretty sweet. Now here is the good stuff, okay? There is this set of weapons. The Twin Blades of the Hakari. They got a set bonus that is really busted. You get 6 sword weapon skill. Now weapon skill is the most important thing you can get. We have seen warriors going daggers because of weapon skill. Weapon skill gives you 3% hit if you get 5 weapon skill, and you also get a reduction in glancing blows. I think with 6 weapon skill your glancing blows are 10%. Do not quote me on that, please, but it is very significant. Your glancing blows are the one thing that you cannot reduce, and those are important because your white hits, the ones that can glance, are the ones that generate rage. So weapon skill not only is 3% hit for free, but it is also a hell of a lot of rage. So getting these 2 weapons for 6 sword skill is gonna save you on the edge masters, and it is really freaking bonkers. The problem, let's look at this weapon. 50 DPS, not amazing but respectable. 28 attack power, 1% crit. The offhand, 47 DPS, 40 attack power. The weapons are about in par with like a middle tier weapon from Molten Core, not one of the best ones, but one of the others. Is really nice, and if you're starting a character right now and you wanna catch up, they are definitely an option. The main problem with this set is the main hander. As you can see, the main hander has a speed of 170. That is way too fast for a Fury Warrior, especially in the Horde. If you're in the Alliance, it doesn't matter nearly as much, but you want the slowest main hander possible so you can get your Wind Furies harder, and you also want your main hander to be slow because that way your Whirlwind is gonna do the most damage, and both of those things are gonna suck more because your weapon is too fast. It doesn't matter for a tank because you have no weapon scaling abilities as a tank. You do Revenge, Heroic Strike, and Bloodthirst. None of those are affected by your weapon skill, and you actually want a fast main hander for Heroic Strike spamming. So if you're a tank, these are amazing. These are really good. If you're gonna dual wield tank, they are great. But for a DPS, they are pretty mediocre. I would not bother for them. Like, if I were really wanted to get something like this, I would just go Edge Masters, or I would even go Daggers. Honestly, I would get a Dagger from Molten Core or something stupid like that. You could even go for this helmet with Axe skill on it. It's pretty cheap right now. I've seen it go for like 600 gold if you are really desperate about an item. So yes, only if you're gonna tank, otherwise these are not worth it. We got Syncroc, Destroyer of Worlds, two-handed weapon. It is pretty much an Obsidian Edge Blade without weapon skill, so it's kinda crap. It's really slow though, that's nice, but not a priority at all. You can get better weapons in Molten Core and you can get better weapons in Blackwing Lair, so this is not worth it. If you get it for OS spec, for PvP spec, you might as well. And this is the big one, right? We finally get a DPS oriented set. Well, not quite DPS oriented, but we get DPS oriented pieces. This set is half tank and half DPS. The breastplate is tanking stuff, is bad. The necklace is also tanking stuff and is bad, and you can get the Onyxia necklace, so this is worthless. And this trinket is useless for everybody, 30 rage, that is not worth it. But here the bracers and the belt. Your best in slot bracers are some random bracers from Molten Core, they are leather. These are a little worse, but they are plate and you might want to use them for PvP. I mean, if you can get them, you can consider yourself best in slot. We are trading off 24 strength from this item to 13 strength and 13 agility, so we got a little more stats overall, but because of how DPS warrior works, strength is a little more important, so this should be slightly better. The ones from Molten Core, these are almost as good. These are almost as good. If you can get this, you can be best in slot, you can consider yourself done, you're happy with this, okay? When it comes to the belt, you got 1% crit and 25 strength. It is a damn decent belt. The problem is that we are not talking about damn decent because you are competing with this. The Onslaught Girdle is a belt from Molten Core that has 1% hit, 1% crit and 31 strength. It is one of the most sought after items in the game. It is completely overtuned. This is from the first tier of the game when Blizzard had no idea how to budget an item and they accidentally made the best belt in the game. So no, you are never gonna seriously be shooting for this. Also, you can get the Brigand Girdle. This is a belt from Ubers, 1% hit, 15 strength. It is not even that much worse than the previous one. There is no reason to go for the belt. I wouldn't soft reset at least. It is better than Brigand. It is a little better. So if you can get it, I would get it. I would roll on it, but I am never soft resing it. Now for a couple of set items, you got this little helmet that has 2% hit and 22 agility. It is slightly better than the Mask of the Unforgiven from Stratholm. Of course, it is never gonna be best in slot for a warrior because you got the Lionheart helmet or the PvP helmet. Either one. Lionheart helmet is gonna be best in slot all the way to Nax, so we are never gonna get rid of this one. It is like 2000 gold, that's the problem. So this one is also not worth it. If you're a fresh character, very useful, very handy, but that's pretty much it. Sacrificial gauntlets. These are really freaking good. 19 strength, 1% crit, 1% hit. Your previous best in slot was the Flame Guard gauntlets, 1% crit, 54 attack power, but if you look at this, 1% crit and 19 strength. 19 strength is 38 attack power, so pretty close, and you get one hit for free on top of that. So these gloves are gonna be better unless you are over the hit cap, but you get to maneuver, and even then it is pretty close. I would say they are about the same, but I would prefer this just because of the flexibility I get. But that's the thing about Zul Gurub, right? It is not giving you best in slot proper, but it is giving you something very close in somewhere else, because getting gear as a warrior is so hard. There is so much competition and so little gear that any duplicates you can get, any redundant drops, are actually really good for you. So yes, you can rest these are gonna be almost best in slot, you might as well. Then you got the Zulian Slicer. It is a decent main hander. It is never great. You got the skinning, like if you can skin with this, so that's useful. That's for Onyxia and stuff. 44 DPS is gonna make it very mediocre, but it is decent if you're a fresh character once again, so we're gonna skip this one. Then you got Arloc's Grasp. Now this is part of a set, this set, where you got two fist weapons, They got 1% crit, 47 DPS, and 42 DPS, so the DPS is pretty mediocre, not very good. The speed is also not great, 2.2. It is well beyond what a warrior would like, and the set bonus is that you get 300 attack power, which is decent, but the cooldown is very bad. So overall, these two weapons are very bad for one simple reason: they are fist weapons, and that means you cannot get a racial bonus. As far as I know, at least, there is no item that gives you a fist weapon skill, and they are already pretty crap to begin with, so this set is gonna be pretty useless. We're gonna skip it. This is a very welcome change. The Ancient Hakari Manslayer. 50 DPS, speed of 2. It is not best in slot, but what it is a lifesaver for orcs. The best offhander for an orc in this phase is, well, of course, the rank 14, but assuming you're not rank 14, you gotta get Cruel Shoruk. That weapon is best in slot pretty much freaking forever. Everybody wants a Cruel Shoruk. You are not going to get a Cruel Shoruk. And your other alternative for an offhander is some random crappy blue. I think there is a blue axe in Alterac Valley that you can get. But this is a really good offhander axe that you can get fairly easily as soon as Zul Gurub comes out. So for quality of life, this is huge. It is not best in slot, it is 10 DPS behind best in slot, but it is still really good and a lot better than what you already have. So I would consider this, or if you got Edge Masters, well, actually with Edge Masters you can get a random dagger, so it's not a big deal either way, but this is very welcome. Orcs are gonna love this addition. Then you got the Fang of the Faceless. Speaking of daggers, 50 DPS, 1% crit, 28 attack power, fast dagger, decent offhander, never gonna be best in slot, but it is really good. It's worth a consideration if you're a dagger rogue or something like that. Probably wouldn't prioritize it as a warrior because we got so many more options. You also got the Eye of Hakar, 1% crit, 40 attack power. We are never gonna use the Eye of Hakar. I mean, you could, if you're over the hit cap, you could feasibly want it. Here's the problem, right? You got the Onyxia Pendant, it is 1% hit, 1% crit, and 12 agility, and the fire resistance is kinda useful. I mean, I would miss the fire resistance for sure, but 40 attack power versus 1% hit and 12 agility. Technically, the Eye of Hakar is a little better. A little. It is not worth reserving. If you already have the Onyxia Pendant, you are almost as good. It is very, very, very close. Especially if you need hit, of course. As a matter of fact, the only reason I would ever go for the Eye is if I do not have the Onyxia Necklace. Most people got the Onyxia Necklace, but otherwise there is so many more things to prioritize before this necklace that such a small upgrade is not worth a soft res. You got Mandokir's Sting, 11 agility, pretty crappy bow, get a bow with hit. You got the Bloodstained Coif, 2% critical strike, 14 stamina, 28 attack power. Another decent helmet, but it is not good enough because Lionheart is so broken and you can get the Mask of the Unforgiven in Stratholm. You got a lot of options, but it is, if you're a fresh character, you might be able to get this and it should be pretty decent for you, otherwise not worth it. Lizard Scale Eye Patch is just a better version of Rend. You know, the Rend Eye Patch, this is a little better, 44 attack power. Very cool, get Lionheart, but very cool. And that should clear out all of Zul Gurub. So let's do a quick recap. What should I keep? You should definitely consider the belt. Where is it? Okay, this belt, the warrior belt you can get from the Primal Hakari Girdle, 1% crit, 25 strength. It is not best in slot, but what are your chances of getting on slot Girdle? Very slim, it is a very sought after item, and this is the next best thing, so you might as well go for that. You can go for either the Band of Jinn or the Seal of Jinn. They are both really decent. This one is basically just a slightly better Blackstone ring, but you already have done Julio's, so you don't need both, you only need one. Don't be greedy, don't be greedy. The Ancient Hakari Manslayer opens up an entire new option for orcs who desperately need options for an offhand. Now they got an easy to get offhand right here. This is probably the highlight of Zul Gurub, that orcs finally get a decent offhand that doesn't take in rank 14. Huge. pretty huge. The Eye of Hakari is technically best in slot, but it is not a big deal. It is like, I am not kidding you guys, like if this thing had like 5 less attack power, it wouldn't be best in slot. That's how close to the Onyxia scale tooth pendant it is. It is like super close to the Onyxia necklace. Only go for this if you do not have the Onyxia necklace. Then you got the eye patch. If you do not want to get Lionheart, you can go for this. You should just keep farming for Lionheart at some point. I also forgot to mention Nat Pagel's Broken Reel. This is a trinket that gives you 10% spell hit for 15 seconds. And you might be asking, why would you want to get this trinket? Well, it is useless for everybody. Okay, don't worry about the casters. Nobody needs this. The thing is that your taunt is technically a spell. And you guys know in Naxxramas, if you miss a taunt on the 4 horsemen, that is a big problem. So this is useful if you're a tank for Naxxramas. You might as well get it now if you can get it, because nobody is gonna soft res this item. It is pretty crap. Usually if you're in a guild, they got a policy of only giving those to the tanks. If you are a tank and nobody wants it, you should get it. And of course, how could I forget? The Wheel of Arlok, the ultimate ninja caster weapon in the game. 46 healing power. What's that? That's Flask Set Prio, baby. Okay, I'm kidding, but I have seen a warrior ninja this stuff one time before and I thought it was really funny. I also seen mages ninja it because 35 spirit is really good for evocation, so poor healers, man. It sucks. I got a question actually, because you guys are doing Black Lair, you are ranking, whatever. Do you feasibly need any of the items in Zul Gurub I just showed you? Like, is Zul Gurub a big deal for you? Because I feel that Zul Gurub is more of a big deal to people that are starting out, and fine, it is a catch-up raid, it is for people that are behind, I get it. I've been doing Molten Core and BWL every lockout, and I only got 2 raid drops. I got my Obsidian Edge Blade, and I got my Chromatic Boots, and that's it. So I think any more loot, even if it is not best in slot, is gonna be really appreciated for warriors. Subscribe, join the Discord, and thank you for watching.